Hey everyone, Tankenstein here, and welcome to Stock to Spaded. In this episode, I'll be showcasing the F-104C Starfighter. This is a currently ranked 6 battle rating 9.3 fighter in the American Air Tech tree, and is currently optionally unlocked sitting in the same folder as the F-104A, which makes this perfect for Stock to Spaded. As with every Stock to Spaded, I'll take this through at least 3 matches, with the first match being fully stock, second match being about halfway spaded, and the third match being fully spaded, so that you could see whether or not this vehicle is worth unlocking, and then, if you want, fully spading. Now, this vehicle is more or less about the same as the F-104A. It has a slightly different engine that puts out just a little bit less thrust, but also weighs substantially less than what the F-104A has. But also, the airframe on the F-104C is a bit heavier due to it being strengthened to carry additional secondary ordnance in the way of up to 3 750-pound bombs or up to 38 Mighty Mouse rockets. So because of that additional weight, this does have a slightly worse turn time, at least on the stat card, compared to the F-104A. But again, also makes it actually usable for CAS, which the F-104A unfortunately lacks. This also has, at least for now, an aesthetic fuel probe on the fuselage, whereas the F-104A lacks that. One thing to bear in mind before we start getting into these matches here, I have already fully spaded the F-104C, so what I will be doing is retroactively removing all of my modifications and then showing you again a fully stock match with none of my modifications used, a halfway spaded match with only about half of them used, and of course fully spaded with all of them being used. That way you can see exactly how this vehicle is throughout the process of it becoming fully spaded. But with all that being said, let's get into the first match and see how this thing does fully stock. So, despite the fact that this is, again, fully stock, it does have a very, very good rate of climb. Not the best in the game, but still pretty much around the best of all the aircraft that you're going to be fighting. Now, it does have pretty decent turning capabilities at altitude, which is nice, but once you get lower altitude, it kind of fades a bit. Now, let's go ahead and dive. One of the things that you are going to want to do with this aircraft in particular, really any of the F-104s, is you are going to want to use this thing pretty much exclusively as a boom and zoomer. So let's go ahead and go for this F3H2, gain some speed after I just dropped it a bit, and now we're going to want to go right back up into the clouds, because that's pretty much the play cycle with this thing for a while, right? You're going to want to just boom and zoom, boom and zoom, boom and zoom, prey on enemies that are much slower than you. Typically, subsonic goes best, but if you can find something that's like just barely supersonic, like the F3H2 Demon, you should do pretty well. Most A10A players are pretty unaware of their surroundings, might be a good way to put it. So I go for them as well. AV8s, they're pretty good targets as well. But insofar as stock performance on this thing is concerned, it is pretty damn gnarly. Now, bear in mind also, that is not an AV8A, right? Like, so that guy actually grinded. He does have some skill. It's difficult to tell if you're going for an AV8A or B, or rather a C. So he thinks I'm going to go fire my missiles at him, but that couldn't be farther from the truth, because I don't have any missiles. Because again, we are fully stocked. But as you can see, we are still on him with ease. Okay, it looks like we are going to see him die there. But, as you can see, we still have an ally who clearly knew that it was my kill, was trying to take my kill from me. Not a big deal. Now, one thing that this aircraft does have that the F-104A does not have, that I did not mention in the intro, this has radar warning receiver, which is awesome. So, one of the big issues that you'll probably face with this aircraft is head-ons with things like MiG-21s. And when you have a head-on with something like a MiG-21, you run into some really serious problems because... Okay, let's go ahead and just do a quick head-on with him. You run some really big issues because you really don't have the maneuverability a lot of the time to get away from those missiles, or you don't know that they fired a missile until it's too late. Having that radar warning receiver does help tremendously. Now, also, you're going to want to go for some big aircraft that have poor energy retention. The F-10 or the F-100 is one of them. So let's go for that. Again, fully stock. This thing, it still has amazing performance. It has more or less about the same turning radius that you could expect from a fully spaded F-104. A touch worse, but not terrible. So let's go ahead and we should be able to get that. And we got the kill. There we go. Not too bad. 2 kills pretty quick. Now we're going to want to go for that F-100. This thing does eat a lot of fuel, but typically 20 minutes of fuel, even when you're fully spaded, should be sufficient. So let's go for this. And also, we do not get countermeasures, unfortunately. So we got 3 kills there. Also, bear in mind, every single ounce of my stock to spaded videos, it is here. I'm not just trying to give you guys like, oh, a 5-kill match or a 7-kill match. I want to give you guys what you can expect from an average-ish match. I was actually just playing an F-104A, and I got, I think, pretty much 3 kills every match, if not like 2 kills, 1 assist, was my bare minimum that I played over like 10 matches. So 3 kills is a pretty normal sort of thing that you can expect from this if you prey on the right enemies and if you do kind of what I was mentioning in this with boom and zooming. That is going to be your key to success and a lot of fun with this aircraft. That being said, let's get into a halfway spaded match, see how this thing does with increased performance and its AIM-9B missiles. Now, I can tell you guys this right away. The performance on this thing after increasing, I think I've got compressor and the wings as well. I don't think I have the engine upgrade. Maybe I do. Anyways, as you guys can see, performance on this thing has gotten a lot better just by introducing, give or take, around half of the modifications to this thing. So it's really, really nice. Plus, of course, I have my AIM-9Bs. Now, these AIM-9Bs are not going to be your primary weapons. I don't want you to think that they are. They probably never will be. However, they can still do pretty decently as something where it's like, okay, maybe you just got out of gun range or something, right? These can do the trick. So I'm going to get close, hopefully, to this SU-7. SU-7s are a bit tough to kill with this. You do want to get within, I'd say, ooh, well, 1.2 should be sufficient. 1.2 kilometers is going to be good, and that will be a kill. First strike, really. I'm genuinely surprised about that. We should be able to get a kill against this Harrier here. With any luck, that is a GR1. As I mentioned before, you do kind of want to go after premiums. Premium aircraft will be likely your bread and butter. Again, that came from a boom and zoom. And once you get some of those performance upgrades, your booming and zooming becomes a lot easier. I'm going straight up, by the way. And I'm hardly losing speed. So let's go ahead, get back down here. You don't want to fight aircraft like the Ariat. It's just not going to be a good one to do. You want to go for larger aircraft, less maneuverable aircraft. The F-8E is going to be pretty good in that regard. The Hunter typically will be pretty good in that regard. Being that this F-8E is now kind of broken off a bit, he does seem to have lost some speed, so we can go for him. The Vautour also would be a pretty good target as well. I'm going to try to make it so I don't miss. Probably will. Okay, getting a crit is totally fine in my opinion. Not too bad. I think I do have the air belts for this, which are very nice. Ooh, nice. I got myself a kill. Looks like I did actually set him on fire. So we'll have to see. Now going... Ooh, you know what? If he didn't just set himself up for a quick spray and pray, I wouldn't even be going for him. Oh, baby, baby. There we go. Didn't get a hit. That's totally fine. I mean, it is a, Really? I have a G-suit on. Oh, that would have been so good. It looks like an F-86? F-84, rather? Oh, okay, it's a Hunter. Let's go ahead and put those air brakes on. I am starting to get a touch low when it comes to speed, or, fuel. Ooh, the Ariat is right next to me. Let's see if I can cut it, and it won't matter. But we do have a Hunter right here, and he is not looking at me one bit. Still fudged it up. I only have 96 shots left. And again, like I said, I had 1 kill via, I think 1 kill via my missiles. Maybe, no, 2. So right now, I'm 2 and 2. All you have to do is just clean up your shot placement. And, like, if I had cleaned up my shot placement a little bit there, I'd probably have an easy 5, maybe 6 kills. So I'm going to probably go for this Sagittario, simply because he's right here. Got the kill, likely. And we still have 7 shots left, so I'm just going to go spray on... Oh, maybe not. The Sagittario got me. I was being a bit of an idiot there. But again, the whole point of this gameplay, I want to show you guys a realistic match, right? And again, the first match and this match are literally 2 consecutive matches. I had 3 kills with ease, fully stock, 5 kills with ease, fully stock, and so much of that comes down to using this speed with what it's good at and avoiding what it's bad at. If you can pick off enemies and kind of hit them perpendicularly, so to speak, right? Whether from altitude or from the side, and you just kind of go right by them, or if they're at low energy, and obviously you'll likely be at high energy, you should be able to sniff out these kills with ease. I mean, this vehicle, using it correctly, is a beast. You really don't have to worry about missiles targeting you so much if you play this thing correctly. So that being said, let's get into a fully spaded match, see what this thing can do, but man, I love me some Starfighter. Let's get into it. So here we are, fully spaded with the F-104C, and this thing is just faster than it was before. It's just amazing. Like I said, I think when I was fully stock, this thing is actually pretty damn decent when it comes to its overall maneuverability at altitude. It's not bad in that regard. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this. Probably not. Okay, not a big deal. Now we have this Yak 28 I'm going to go for. I think Yak 28s do have countermeasures. So, yep, he is deploying them. Not too big of a deal. That is a bit of a fast aircraft, so you want to get to within, I'd say like 1.5-ish kilometers when using AIM-9Bs. If these were like D variants or E variants, I would say you can get a little bit further away, but this is a bit different. Also, he's not all too maneuverable, so you can kind of don't mind so much if he flares them away, because it's just going to breadcrumb it right in. Kind of like that. Okay, so let's go ahead, pull up. Now, that's pretty much, I mean, what this thing is kind of designed for, right? Destroying bombers. Now, unfortunately, bombers don't really exist at and around this BR, so you're not really going to get too much of that action when using this vehicle, but you will still be able to get the occasional bomber kill. Now, this guy, I don't think he's got a radar, so I should be okay. Let's go ahead and just fire some on him. I'm actually really surprised I did not hit him once there, especially as he went by, but that will happen occasionally. The greatest strength of the Vulcan cannon is going to be its immense rate of fire. However, occasionally enemies do pass right by it, especially when they are supersonic like that MiG-21. Okay, we have a MiG-19 here. He is pulling up. I was going to go for that other aircraft, but the MiG-19 is going to be a much better fight for me, at least in this instance. Now, I am a touch worried about that G91. You know what? I'm going to go away from that MiG-21 and go for this G91. Hopefully, you know what? Won't matter. That sun is screwing up the lock on my missile. So let's go ahead, pull up a touch, and we should be able to get the kill. Very nice. Severely damaged them. That's what matters. And then, of course, we can go pull right back down, put those air brakes on, flaps on. These flaps do have a very, very nice survivability. So, when insofar as speed is concerned, as one might imagine, with a vehicle that's this fast, they do survive very nicely. So, you know what? He is turning a bit. I'm going to go put my air brakes on a bit so I can have a little bit better maneuverability at this altitude. But he is going to crash eventually. I'm just going to let him get a little bit lower. And we have the assist. Not too bad. We have one enemy left. And it looks like that guy was able to actually pick him off while he was landed. So let's just go ahead. Because this does have some CAS capability to it, the last match will just be real quick. I want to show you exactly what this can do, at least in a way, in close air support, and then we'll finish it up. So, as I just said in the last match, the real last match would be, I guess, CAS. So, this vehicle for CAS doesn't really have all too much going on, unfortunately. It's got a decent amount of armament, but nothing all too substantial, right? Like, you can do okay, but it's only got 3 750-pound bombs at most. And as you can see, 2 of them launch simultaneously, whether you want them or not. So it really kind of sucks in that way. Additionally, you cannot equip AIM-9Bs if you want to use the 3 750-pound bombs, because the airframe just cannot take the weight. It goes just overweight, which sucks. Now, I do have the armor-piercing belt, which is nice, but again, not really anything that's too insane here. I'm going to just see if I can hit this fella. Now, you really have to make sure that you use a lot of intelligence, I guess you could say, when using this thing in a CAS role, because what's going to happen is it doesn't really have fantastic maneuverability. So if you're going to use rockets, again, without ballistics computers, you're going to have to get real close, which means skimming treetops, which is not a good thing with this aircraft. This thing just isn't maneuverable enough to be able to like pull out of a steep dive if you're going to try to dive bomb or something. So you have to start pulling out really soon, or really early, which means that you're not going to have the most accurate CAS in a lot of instances. So we do have an enemy right here, I think. Just got some nice hits on him. But that's pretty much what's going to happen. I'm going to go back and land, see what we could do. But overall, I mean, for a CAS aircraft, I really wouldn't recommend this. Honestly, at all. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not that it's terrible. I mean, it can carry bombs, and it can carry Mighty Mouse rockets. And, you know, you can set it up where you have 38 Mighty Mouse rockets, a 750-pound bomb, and, of course, the AIM-9Bs. But the problem is that, again, this doesn't have ballistics computers, and because this thing isn't very maneuverable, lack of ballistics computers is quite literally a real killer. The only times where I've died in this thing trying to make this last match come together has been when I've been, when I just didn't pull up early enough, unfortunately. And that's really kind of a big issue with this aircraft. So it does have a really nice cannon for CES, like it will do the trick, but again, insofar as like spawn point cost and all that, this thing costs over 700 spawn points. I think like 750 between the bombs, which again, you don't have ballistics computers for, and the armor-piercing rounds. So it's okay, but again, another big problem with this, I've been in up tiers every single time I've been trying to get this last match recorded. Complete up tiers, which means you're going to have to face missiles, all-aspect missiles, which have good maneuverability, all that sort of thing, without any countermeasures. You can pull that off in air RB, not so much in ground RB. So, do I recommend the F-104C Starfighter? If you really like the F-104A, hell yeah, this is a great plane. I mean, it's another way that you can just grind out the Starfighter. I mean, like, if that's what you're into, sure, go ahead and do it. This is a really good aircraft in that regard. It's a really fast aircraft. If you like that same sort of play style, sure, but if you need a CAS aircraft, I would just, I'm going to be shot out of the sky. I would just say go ahead and get yourself something else, like an A4 Skyhawk. Go for the F3D Demon, for example. Those would be much, much better options than this if you're looking for CAS. This is just kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you're already a big F-104 fan, go ahead, get this aircraft. It's cool in that way, but I wouldn't get this if you're looking for a CAS aircraft. This is not a CAS aircraft. You know, like I said, Skyhawks are much, much better, and I think they also have ballistics computers, countermeasures, that sort of thing, which, again, this just lacks. So I'm just going to try to bomb this guy, see if I can do it. I'm going to probably die here. Probably? Oh, buddy. Look at that. I didn't die, but I didn't get a kill. I think he died just beforehand. So again, this is not very effective in terms of CAS. It doesn't have great maneuverability. It's going to be shot out of the sky so damn often by missiles. I don't know how these guys haven't already killed me. They are very, very close. I'm going to die here. So thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing as I go in for my final death here. But again, I like this plane, just not enough for me to like give it a resounding yes. But if you like the F-104, the F-104C is still a good pickup, at least for Air RB. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. You just get to play through its grind twice, which in my opinion is pretty fun. Gives you a lot of free RP towards grinding through the American Air Tech tree, which is cool, but don't expect anything spectacular for a ground RB. So that said, again, thanks so much. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.